My name is Dennis Sperling. If you've been involved in an accident, call me and I'll fight for you. I'm not an actor or a celebrity spokesperson. I'm a real trial lawyer, and I'll appear before real judges and real juries on behalf of people with serious injuries. So when I say I'll fight for you, I mean it, and I'll back it up. If you've been hurt in an automobile or 18-wheeler accident, contact me toll-free at 866-529-2444, and I'll fight for your rights.
This is a good dude, y'all. Coming in story, man, big time lawyer out here in Texas, man. He not tell a story, and y'all need to do the same.
Well, my books, I started writing these books in 2011, and they're called
yeah, there we go.
Rules to Live By, How to Maintain Peace of Mind and Happiness in a Conflicted World. And you can get them on Amazon, and you can download them directly off Amazon and Kindle. Just look up Dennis Sperling, which is my name, Dennis Sperling, and type in Amazon. They'll come right up. If you want a hard copy, you can email me at sperlingdennis@gmail.com. If you want a copy of the books, and I'm telling you, I give you a lot of different scenarios. There's some child support stuff in here, but it's mostly a lot of different areas which I've had to deal with in my personal life. Those of you guys who have sons who have you just met, or sons who are separated from you, if you one of those young men, and I call myself the lost son, and I actually wrote a lot of music, man. Come to find out, man, I'm related to B.B. King through my grandmother. It was her cousin. That's like my cousin. So
he from Mississippi too.
Yeah. Her name was Elmira King. He was B.B. King. They were cousins, and they all lived out in that area, And so come to find out, man, music is in my blood. So I end up doing 7 albums with Beans and Cornbread. They produced Slim Thug, Paul Wall. Okay. I actually got a track with Paul Wall from back in the day. It's called Grown Man Stuff. But, that's not something I want to go into. But bottom line is that creativity allows me to be who I am. But the books, you can find them on Amazon. You can do the Kindle thing. They're very interesting. They're a wonderful read. You can probably read them in 2 or 3 days, but they're great for young men who have grown up, who haven't had their fathers. It basically deals with everything that we as Black American men have had to deal with in the past 40 years.
Across me, man. I was like, man, I was checking you out. I'm like, damn, this man a real deal. So yeah, definitely, man. We all got to reach back. You know what I'm saying? And we right now, like with Kev, we got Donovan, we got all these different brothers put in a network. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's using their talents to help each other get to the next level. Definitely love to bring you into the fold.
Definitely. You guys are amazing. All you guys, I just love to hear my Black brothers speaking their mind. I just want to hear you all say what it is that you want to say and speak on your behalf, because I know you're a little bit younger than I am, man, but hell, since the 1980s, all I've been hearing is Black men get bashed. They ain't this, they ain't that. We've had nobody to speak up on our behalf, so we've been told just to shut up and take it, be the strong, silent type. It's not manly for you to speak up. How dare you argue with these women, blah, 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 even if what they're saying is outright lies and what we know not to be true. Even in our religious, whether it's the church or the Black Muslims or any of these type of folks, it's always seemed like they rather bash the men as opposed to hold the ladies accountable. And that's unfortunate, because you've created this one-sided war, and you have one side that has no accountability for what they've done. And then now what? Look at where we are as a culture.
Brother DeBell 5000 got a question. Is there any way for family court laws to change if men and real women push to change it? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the fact that you have more women being forced to pay child support and alimony is probably the only thing that's going to make them say we need to change these laws. Because as long as it was one-sided and it was men paying women for the past, I don't know how many years, at least since the 90s.
A lot
a
of
lot
years.
of years,
A lot of years.
then there was no incentive for women to even want to change anything because that's their fallback plan. I marry a rich guy, have some kids, I divorce him, I'm good. But right. But now that women are being forced to have to ante up, I think there is some incentive for it to change. And here's another thing: a lot of those ladies who have sons who they've seen been manhandled by the child support system, they should become advocates for family law reform. I think one thing we should do is we should begin to do away with child support altogether.
Like they use Black men as a catalyst to get more funding for themselves to go in a different direction. What are your thoughts on Black Lives Matter as an organization?
I am not happy with Black Lives Matter as an organization. In fact, I'm absolutely disgusted by Black Lives Matter as an organization. These vultures, what they do is whenever a Black man is shot by a white cop or a white race soldier or one of these white suburban commandos, they come in to protest, and they only come in to protest if those Black men's lives fit a certain narrative. So Black Lives Matter is a very disingenuous organization. It talks about marching and protesting, but if we look at who they're marching and protesting for, oftentimes it is, again, Black men who are Pookies and Ray Rays who are shot and killed by a white police officer, a race soldier, or one of these white suburban commandos. They go out here, they kick up a fuss with this protesting, and they really are not anything about Black men or Black men's issues. Because when I look at Black Lives Matter, they don't talk about Black men's issues.
Dramatization.
After a car wreck, you may have to fight with a highly trained insurance company rep whose job is to knock your damage claim down and out. It's a bad idea to enter the ring alone against a trained boxer, and it could be a bad idea to fight against a big insurance company by yourself. When the bell rings, attorney Dennis Sperling will be there to fight for your rights. If you've been seriously injured in a car wreck, call me, attorney Dennis Sperling, at 866-529-2444. That's 866-529-2444. Hey, what's up, everybody? If you appreciate the format and you appreciate what we're doing here, then make sure you contribute to the Cash App, make sure you contribute to the PayPal, make sure you donate to the Super Chat. It's only you and your contributions that keep this thing going. Thanks.
Attorney, reality show creator, and rapper Dennis Sperling. Also joining us is Sperling's good friends, Vondrick Christmas and Deion Dorsett. Welcome to the Fact Uncensored.
What's up, Isaac?
Now, here's the thing. I've been reading your Facebook posts for years, and this is what you've been espousing. You're saying, I need to leave this country to find a good woman.
Yeah. Okay. See, first of all,
no backtracking
really like
now.
The way you
no
backtracking here like that, man. We don't need the smoke, man. We don't need that type of smoke. Okay. What happened was I got divorced, and I looked around and I said, you know, I want to change, you know, and I never really traveled. I went to school. These guys went to school with me, and they know all we did was study. And so I got married. That didn't work out. I got divorced, and then I said, well, you know what? Let me get a passport and see what that's like. So I started traveling overseas. I went to the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, all over London, Europe, things that I had never done before, and I liked it, and I liked what I saw, and I enjoyed myself. And when I did decide to date, I got treated like a king, so I go where I'm celebrated.
Uh-huh.
You know, and that's
So,
basically it.
You're not celebrated here in the United States
What-
like you want to be.
Okay, see what had happened was I got divorced. You know, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys. My Facebook posts are real, but really they're the feelings that a lot of African American men and men in general feel. They say, look, the juice is not worth the squeeze. I work all my life. I do everything I can to please my wife, and then she divorces me. 70% of marriages are brought to divorce by the women in those relationships. So clearly people aren't happy. Look at the marriage rate. Look at the depression rate that we have. I think people need to get out a little bit more. But more importantly, you know, it's something that I like. These guys, I know that they don't feel the same way I do because my Facebook page has a diverse group of guys with different ideas. And so this is just what works for me, you know?
And so what works for you guys?
So I would say that
and then it depends on what type of
And
man
is
you are.
anything wrong with that?
Nothing.
Requiring more?
No, it's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just, you know, those expectations seem for some guys maybe a little bit much.
I argue all day, and I don't have time to come home and argue.
And so that's what you get with
I don't
you perceive to be an American woman.
I think that American women, they have so much pressure on them that it's nearly impossible for them to fulfill those traditional roles that women have fulfilled all the way up until the 50s when industrialization and it's impossible for them to do that. So the culture and what we have going on here in the United States makes it impossible to have one of those traditional relationships. Whereas in Colombia or the Dominican Republic or Haiti, the women, they still have that culture that says, hey, I'm cooking and cleaning for my man. But hey, there's some responsibilities on the men too, because those women, they still want men that take care of business, that go to work, that pay bills. So you have you have a role you have to fill, and she has a role she has to fill. So it's not like I'm just going down there sitting up on the sofa and she's making mango every day, feeding me like I'm a king.
Is you never get flack from, I hate to say it, man, but you're a successful brother.
Yeah.
And I'm a successful man. I don't get flack from my peers. I don't get flack from guys that are up here doing the things we're doing. Regardless of where the comment is, you tend to get flack from guys who are not where they want to be.
Right.
And it's like, look, man, and here's one thing that's unique about the black community. We got the barbershop experience, and that takes anywhere from the homeless dude to the D-boy to the corporate exec. We all go to the same spot, and that's one thing that's unique about us is the socioeconomic groups we mix, and we all look at each other as men. And I'm like, no, there's white men, non-black men have long been able to do all these things, but when black men just do what's normal and natural, we're muted. And that's what brothers are finally starting to push back and fight against, because that's crazy to think that you shouldn't have a younger woman, especially if you can pay the cost to be the boss and provide. That's the ideal situation.
It is
ideal situation, because she never has to go outside and work and get outside of her femininity.
It seems to me, for those who say this is bad for the black community, it would seem to me that the perfect pairing is a mature older man with resources who's proven himself, and a younger fertile woman who can come together and reproduce children in a safe family environment. I believe in marriage. I don't like the family laws that are set up there, but I do believe in marriage. I think men are better in marriage when they have loving women who care for them, who are reciprocate, who are feminine, and who are there to help them be the best men they can be. I believe in marriage. I just don't like the way the system is set up. Now, there are some things you can do to mitigate that: prenuptial agreements, postnuptial agreements, have an understanding, put some money in trust account. So you can eliminate the financial incentive in getting a divorce, and there you are. Now you got a person in front of you. But
I'm glad that we actually got a high value man. Shout out to Kevin Samuels. I'm not sure if you've been following the high value movement, but you know, you definitely would fit that description. I mean, a lawyer, you know what I'm saying? You went about it the right way. You're married. Unfortunately, the marriage didn't work out, but you got to do what you got to do. Yeah. And what you have to do is co-parent. And we hear the women all the time tell us stories about how I'm such a good, we co-parent good. It's always the women talking about it. You know what I'm saying? But you as a black man, high value black man, it's very important that you get a perspective and give the brothers the right advice as far as co-parenting. And it seems like that's been the bulk of your work, you know what I'm saying? Outside of the law, you know, you've been really pushing for co-parenting and just showing the dynamic work in harmony, because again, you know what I'm saying?
I'm not saying it on your show.
You know what I'm saying? So you ain't cooking her. So I mean, it seems like everything, you know, you got everything copacetic. So talk to the brothers who may be going through a divorce.
Well,
who may be in a situation where, look, man, I had a kid with this woman and I got all these things going, but I'm trying to make sure I keep harmony for the sake of the kids, because that's who it's about.
Well, let me say this, brother. I got divorced for a reason. Okay. And I, in the wake of that divorce, 5 years thereafter, I got myself what's called a baby mama. I don't know if you've heard of that, but life got real.
We've heard of that. Have we heard of that, church?
Yeah, it got complicated after that happened, because the children were born under two separate circumstances. So I can pull from both of these, you know, to kind of explain, you know, what happened. Now, I would suggest that you never get a baby mama if you can avoid one, but it happened to me. But basically I think my point is, you can't co-parent with everyone, period. If you weren't married to that woman, if you were married to a woman, hopefully you guys came to an accord at some point, and you can use that as a foundation to begin to co-parent and do what's in the best interest of the child. Now, if you had one night where you turned up at the club and you just randomly met some woman and you have nothing in common with her and you don't know much about her, and you guys have two different set of principles and understanding about how life should be and how children should raise, it's going to be very difficult for you to co-parent with that person. So
is that the case with the baby mama?
Probably so.
Hi, my name is Dennis Sperling. I'm not a lawyer, but my daddy is. Yeah. If you've been hurt in a car accident, call my daddy. No need to scream and yell like a little kid. Yeah, I know. My daddy will fight for your rights. Yeah, fight for your rights. If you've been involved in a car accident, call my daddy, returning Dennis Sperling.
Hello, I'm attorney Dennis Sperling. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call me at 713-229-0770.
Call my daddy.
Hey, what's up, everybody? If you appreciate the format and you appreciate what we're doing here, then make sure you contribute to the Cash App, make sure you contribute to the PayPal, make sure you donate to the Super Chat. It's only you and your contributions that keep this thing going. Thanks.
Understanding about life. I know what it is to be with a woman and how you have to treat a woman and how you have to pick and select a woman. And you do a great job at explaining to these young men what they don't want and what they should be looking after. I didn't have somebody like you when I was a young man. You see,
yeah.
I grew.
Do you Do you believe in marriage? And
Yes.
would you get married again?
I would definitely get married again. It would definitely be a different kind of woman. It would definitely be a woman not from the toxic culture that I was raised in. Okay. And so it's not a race thing, it's a culture thing. Okay. Let me say that again for the people in the back. It's not a race thing, it's a culture thing. I typically have only dated Black women, Black American women. I tried to date the Jamaican lady who ended up being my child's mother, but she was Black American in her culture because she was raised in the United States. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't good women out there, but what I'm saying is you're looking at a toxic culture that does not put the family first. They put the me first. They put the get the bag first. And so it's impossible to have a union with somebody like that.
We got a lot of stuff going on politically. And the question that I presented today for the brothers here is, this is my statement, just because Trump has been voted out doesn't mean that the show is over. 70 million fervent followers voted for him in 2020, despite knowing all of his shortcomings. Trump is a symptom. He is a reflection of how nearly one half of Americans feel. How does this affect Black men? Let's talk about it. And as the opening statement, it was 2021 and beyond, 70 million Trump voters aren't going anywhere. Look, unless you've been living under a rock, you know that 5 people have been shot and killed in Washington, D.C. As of now, related to the protest outside the Capitol building. One of them is this gentleman, Benjamin Phillips. He basically runs a Trump website, Trump website called Trumparoo, where patriots can mobilize against the corrupt, communist, Marxist, scummy Democrats. Here's another one. We just learned avid Trump supporter Kevin Greeson, who regularly posted online about getting his guns and taking the country back, was one of the 4 people who died in the siege. It was 5 people who died in the siege of the Capitol. Post from Greeson wishing bad things to happen to Nancy Pelosi and identifying with the Proud Boys were found as well. So here's what I'm saying, fellas. You know, these guys, these people are not going anywhere.
And just explain to them generally.
Well, the context of that video was me making a commentary on how people are not really looking objectively at your Donald Trump. And because they're not looking at him objectively, they are approaching him from the position, as I see it, of obsession. Because when I look at the way the Congress has been acting, I look at the way the Senate has been acting, I look at the way people on the street have been acting, and it's like they're not thinking critically or objectively about anything Donald Trump is about. They're coming at it from this position of this extreme emotion. And because they're coming from this extreme emotion, they only think from this perspective of obsessively about Donald Trump. It's all about either you're extremely for Trump or you're extremely against Trump. And these people who are obsessed with Donald Trump, they aren't really thinking about the harm they're doing to the American people.
I will scream and I will holler. Then I'll scream and holler some more, saying absolutely nothing.
You have a choice in legal representation. And in making that choice, do you want an attorney with a made-for-TV nickname to represent you in your serious car wreck claim?
I will growl, kick, and scream.
My name is Dennis Sperling. If you've been involved in a motor vehicle accident, contact me toll free at 866-529-2444. The choice is yours.
All right, fellas, let me lay the argument out for you. I'm saying that black men, do you have an escape plan from the Matrix? SYSBM. For those of you all who are unfamiliar, that's a term used in the red pill community, in the amongst black men, the traveling black men, that basically says save yourself, black men. Reason being is because, you know, black men for the most part have been hunted and are targets in the United States. And on top of that, we're not getting any reprieve from any, nobody's helping us, you know? And so the question is, why are we still here? A lot of brothers are saying, you know what, I got to get myself out of the United States because, first of all, I can't have peace. I'm not finding women that I want to begin a family with. So what's the point of me staying? So they say SYSBM. And that's all good and dandy, but the question is, do you have an exit plan? Tonight I have a special guest who's going to appear a little later on. She is an attorney licensed to practice law in the Dominican Republic. She's a native Dominican woman, very intelligent woman, very hardworking attorney, a professional. I'm telling you, she's my attorney. She's the lady that helped me start my Coffee King International company. A lot of us think that, you know, there's only one reason to go down to the Dominican Republic. That's just to party and turn up. But you have some brilliant people, brilliant professionals. It's no different than if somebody came from overseas and thought that the United States was all about Las Vegas or Disneyland. No, this is a country. It has its own gross national product. It has all these other things, all these other attributes, talented people all around their places, universities, doctors, lawyers, everything you can imagine, they have it there. It just so happens to be on a Caribbean island. Here's another thing I want to dispel. Why is it that places where black and brown people live or founded are referred to as third world countries? If you actually go to the Dominican Republic, or you go places like Colombia or Venezuela or all these other South American countries, if you go to places like Ghana, Nigeria, and yeah, we refer to them as third world countries, but are they really? I don't think so. And until you actually go and set foot, you won't understand what I'm talking about. But here's the thing, fellas. Here's what I want you guys to understand. Let's take Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby is worth what? $400 million. He is an 80-plus-year-old man, and he is currently incarcerated for some trumped-up charges having to do with false testimony being rendered, because he was made the scapegoat or the poster boy for that Me Too movement, which occurred about 3 or 4 years ago. And they picked a black man, and they basically, you know, made him the poster child for bad activity performed by males. And he was the guy that allegedly took advantage of all these women. I disagree. But what that tells me is this. It tells me that you are never safe as a black man. For the most part, Bill Cosby never got in trouble. He never had any sort of criminal cases pending against him other than this trial, and which took place twice actually, because it was a mistrial at first. So the man lives a stellar life. He's married. Yeah, so what? He has some outside relationship. That has nothing to do with me. That's between him and his wife. But what I'm saying, folks, is that it seems as though as a black man in the United States, you are never actually safe. You can never actually escape. You can't outgrow the turmoil and the torture and that black men typically have to go through. So he's right in there with those same black men that he was trying to educate. He was trying to say, hey, do better, do this, do that. He's right in there with them. So that tells me that as a black man, you know, there's a good idea that you may need to have an escape plan for yourself and your family. It's just a thought. I'm not saying that every black person is going to follow my advice. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that it seems like you probably need to have an escape plan if you're a black man. Let's look at all those different countries. I mean, all those different towns, 100 or so, 1,000 or so towns that black folks developed right out of slavery. What happened to those towns? They were burned to the ground for one reason or another. That's what happened to those towns. And so what that tells me is that no matter what we do here in the United States, we're always going to be a target. We often talk about separation. I used to hear stories from members of the Nation of Islam, and they would say stuff like, well, you know, we want to separate. And I get that. And I have great respect for the members of the Nation of Islam, the Black Muslim community, all the religious organizations. But here's the thing, what's to stop, you know, a bunch of redneck revolutionaries from invading our parcel of land, you know, on the 4th of July? I mean, we know how folks operate and have historically operated when it comes to people of color here in the United States. We know how the United States government operates. So how can you ever really be secure? My notion and my statement and what I tell black people all the time is that a stolen people on a stolen land will never have peace. And so if you want to separate, you probably need to go and be with people that look like you, people that understand where you're coming from, so you don't stick out like a sore thumb. Because as long as we stick out like a sore thumb, guess what's going to happen? We are going to be targets in this country. So think about that. Think about where I'm coming from. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people say, oh, well, you know, why are you guys leaving? You afraid this is our land, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But sometimes you got to leave, okay? Sometimes you have to leave because it's just unsafe. Even if you can go resettle any place else. In fact, this entire continent, this entire world is ours. It's the whole thing belongs to us. So why do you have to simply settle on one piece of land here in the United States that's so far over? I don't think it's a wise decision. So, you know, the thing about it is, if you stay, you're at peril. If you stay, you risk the chance of, you know, having your money taken away from you, being incarcerated all the way up to 70, 80, and the stress that we endure here in the United States. Racism itself causes problems. Racism itself causes black men, especially, unnecessary stress. Look how young we died. Most of us died 60-something years old. It's a horrible situation. It's something that we need to address, something that we never address. You may very well be leaving this country for your own mental and physical well-being, because at a certain point, I'm just saying, at a certain point, you just have to realize it's not worth it anymore. And that's where I'm at. At this point, what I want you to do is, I want you guys to come on in and tell me, have you ever contemplated leaving the United States? Have you ever thought about whether or not you can spend your entire life here in the United States? Here's another thing. Even if you turn out to make it, you're fine. You're 79, 80 years old. What about your children and grandchildren? Do you really want them having to go through jump through all the hoops and endure and navigate all the perils and obstacles that you as a black man or black woman had to. Why not introduce them to another culture, even if they don't decide to go and live there? At least they'll know they have options to go other places. I don't see a problem with it. I don't think that we should be against things like teaching our children that there are other places they can go, be it other places where Africans in the Americas landed, like the Caribbean, the different countries in South America and Central America, different countries in the Caribbean, both the Upper Antilles and the Greater Antilles and the Lesser Antilles, whether it be Africa, our original home place, whether it be other places around the world. I preach that the entire world is yours, fellas, and you're free to go where you want to go. And I don't see a problem with that. Anybody that tells you that you have to stay here, there's something wrong with them. Oftentimes they're telling you that because they don't want to leave and they don't want you to leave. They want you to stay here with them, but they're afraid that if you begin to leave and if you begin to make an exodus, then the pressure is going to be on them because there's going to be less of us here. Think about that, all right? So here's the thing. I'm going to go ahead and take a break real quick, and I'm going to get my lawyer friend in here, and we're going to have this conversation. And I want her to basically tell you, as I said, she's an attorney out of the Dominican Republic. She's actually based in Miami. Her husband is also an attorney. And she's going to just basically tell you guys some of the things that you should want to look out for if you are living abroad in the Dominican Republic. Now, I am pretty much, I'm the plug as far as I'm concerned. I know a lot of people in a lot of different places. And because of that, I'm able to, connect with folks and hook people up with folks. Just the other day, I connected a guy with an attorney down in Colombia because he had some work that he needed done down there. And that's what I do. And I don't mind doing it. For, of course, I charge an hourly rate, but still, the fact that I can do it makes things a lot easier. You know who you need to come to. So what I want you guys to do is just take your time, sit back. You may have questions about dual citizenship. You may have questions about what happens if I want to open a business. How do I start a corporation down in the Dominican Republic? And we'll start with the Dominican Republic, and depending on how things go, depending on if people donate to the super chats, depending on if people donate to the PayPal and the Cash Apps, depending on how many people we get liking this broadcast is going to determine whether or not I do it again. If you guys like it, we can do it. So, that's pretty much how we'll handle this. Now, the other thing is, oftentimes guys get out of town and they get in trouble. And that's just part and parcel of the game. You go down there, you get carried away with yourself. Next thing you know, your butt is in somebody's jail somewhere. I know so many guys who go different places and then they get in trouble and then they don't know anybody they can call. So they got to spend 4 or 5 days in some foreign prison somewhere. It's always good to have a lawyer on deck. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce you all to my good friend, Attorney Janet Garcia. Buenos noches, ¿cómo está, señora?
Buenas noches, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien. Okay, so Janet, if you can take the time at this point to just introduce yourself to my listeners. I know so much about you, but in your own words, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us how how you got to practicing law, and then you can go into what areas of law you practice, and then maybe you can make some generalizations about the things many Americans need when they come down to the Dominican Republic. Now, I know that's a compound question. I don't want you to object to it, but I'll give it back to you in a little while. But go ahead, introduce yourself.
Thank you. It's a long answer question, but my name is Janet Garcia. I've been an attorney for over 15 years. I went to school in the Dominican Republic at the Catholic University in Santo Domingo. And then for some reasons of life, I managed to open an office in Cabarete in 2001. Cabarete is a small village, a tourist village in Puerto Plata, which is formed by mainly tourists and locals. And it's a sports venture, sports area. So I had my office there for over 10 years, and I assisted. The majority of my clients were foreigners. They were Americans, Europeans, from all over the world, basically, people who wanted to use that destination, in the Dominican Republic, to retire or to just live a more peaceful life. So my area of expertise started with real estate and corporate. So I helped them settle in the Dominican Republic, go that path by first assisting them with immigration, residency applications. And then I went to assist them because if they want to open or start a venture in the Dominican Republic, I formed the companies for them and then help them in different issues of their life. Like one thing led to another, as I said. So mainly I wanted to concentrate in that area, corporate, immigration, and business, just to help them and guide them through life in a tourist area. And as you know, then it's been not being a local in the Dominican Republic can have advantages, but can also create certain disadvantages, because unfortunately people see that you come and sometimes they want to take advantage of you, thinking that you have money, which is not the case. So I kind of guide my clients towards the right path and how to settle in and make the right decisions, not only in the legal but personal ways as well.
And that's what I want to dig into. A lot of these guys, they come down to the Dominican Republic. Oftentimes they're there for a while. Of course they love the women. Everybody loves Dominican women. My God, they are just fantastic. But we don't want to talk about that in too much detail. But I do know guys who live in Puerto Plata, and oftentimes the woman they may be with will confuse the law with what is customary. Like, for instance, I know one custom in the Dominican Republic is that if you're with a woman and you have furniture in the house and then you decide to break up, then she will take the furniture from the house. In other words, she's entitled, in her mind, she's supposed to get the furniture if the man and the woman break up. A lot of Americans don't abide by that rule. They've never heard of it. Typically, if they bought the furniture, they feel it's their furniture, but the women will convince them, no, you breaking up with me. Yeah, we've been living together for 2 or 3 years. The furniture is mine. So that's the type of scenario. In a scenario like that, what would you tell your client if your client is an American man?
First of all, the most important thing is to understand the cultural differences, and I wouldn't call it differences, the cultural adaptations that you need to make to be able to live happily in a country like that. And the first thing I would recommend, if you are willing to initiate a relationship over there and move with a person, I mean, despite of the feelings, I think things have to be put clear. And I have given advice to some of my clients. If you're going to move, just make an inventory of what you're putting in, or just make a kind of agreement or prenup. Not necessarily has to be something really formal, but just put the points clear since the very beginning, because it is true. It is the understanding, and even for us, even if we married a Dominican, we understand the furniture is ours. It's a cultural matter, and it's a different way where, now that I live in America, I see it's different. It's not the way it is here in the United States, and it's a different mentality. So my advice will be, if you're moving in despite the feelings and the emotion and the excitement of initiating a new life, it's important to have things clear, to put things in writing, to explain to the person how things will work, and just to have it in writing. Sometimes what I recommend, I'm sorry, yes, go ahead.
No, is that something that, because see, let me tell you, if some guy came to my law office in Houston and said, look, I need you to explain to my girlfriend that the furniture that we purchase is going to be mine and not hers if we break up, I was like, look, man, get out of here. I do not have time for that. That's between you and your woman. Use Google Translator and figure it out. Don't bother me. Get out of it. But is that something that you can do? Is that something that you specialize in, helping them with that human factor, which falls between the law and love, so to speak? Like, it's kind of like a murky area. See, I wouldn't do it. You couldn't get me to do it. But what I'm trying to tell these guys is that what you're basically saying is, because you've dealt with so many different foreigners who come to the Dominican Republic, your law practice is tailored to help men just like that. Is that basically what you're saying?
Absolutely. And you say professionally is not something that you will do, but because we want to offer the personalized assistance, the tailored assistance to our customers, we try to guide them so it doesn't affect their life as an individual. Because I think once your emotions are happy, then you can make better decisions in business. So we offer that as an added value, in difference with big law firms that are all executives and they just concentrate in that. We are a small firm and we have to give the comfort to the clients that want to settle in. And we offer that as part of the connection. I would say that my firm specializes in connecting the dots, as Steve Jobs would say, connecting the dots to guide the person towards the right people that can help them. If I cannot offer the assistance legally, then I will guide the person towards what they need.
Okay. But now, another thing that men often, because I know they got a lot of guys from New York, they retire from the police force, they retire from the fire department, they come down there with their full pensions. A lot of these guys get 90 to 100% of their pension. And if you're maybe a detective in New York, you're making $160,000 a year. So now you got 160, you're 38, 39 years old. You got $160,000 coming in every year because you've been working on the force for 20 years. And you want to start a business. Normally, if somebody wants to start a business, I'm gonna say, look, man, I'm a lawyer. Get the hell out of here. Stop wasting my time. If you've been in a car accident, call me back, but I don't have time for that. But you can also help them find real estate or buildings to rent. And what's the process for that? What do they have to do? What do they have to do? How far can you go with it? Can you hook them up with a real estate agent? Can you help them interpret the contracts? Can you explain them the ins and outs? Can you negotiate the contract? What do? Do you tell us what you do with it? Because normally I would just draft the contract and leave them alone. So I'll tell you what it meant, but I'm out of here. So what do you do?
Yes, basically the intention of our services is being, as I said before, to connect. And once they come to request our services, I have a team of people in the real estate business, even in the transport business, everything that can create for them this sort of shelter that can lead them to make the best decisions. So once they tell me what their needs are, I have the book of people that I can connect with, realtors, with people who can help them move, even who can find the right property, and then I will assist them in the legal part, in drafting the contract, verifying that the title is correct, forming the company if they want to start the business, and also assisting them with the immigration papers, because that's something very important. Before, back in the days, any foreigner person could come into the Dominican Republic and stay forever. But now immigration laws, as you know, are worldwide more restricted. So we want to make sure that the person comes into the Dominican Republic and settle in, and all the aspects of his settlement are covered, including the immigration part as well.
So you can also, so you mentioned in there, you can also help them find a residence to live in. Do you cover the entire north coast do you cover from Puerto Plata all the way over to Cabarete, or is there a limitation as to whether you can go? Because in the United States, lawyers are limited to a state. Yeah, you're licensed in Texas, but you can't come over here to California. Take your butt back to Texas. Are you able to practice all over the country in the Dominican Republic, or are you limited to one area?
Yes, we're able to practice because the system of the Dominican Republic is based on Napoleonic Code, and is just an island, it's not a federation, so we can practice nationwide. In terms of real estate, our connections are basically from Puerto Plata, Cabarete, towards Cabrera or Nagua, which is more to the northeast. And so we have the link of realtors that operate in that area. But if the person is looking for some assistance in Santo Domingo, in the capital, we can also help like that, because I grew up in the capital and I studied there, so I still have my connection there as well.
And so, the other thing I want to talk about is oftentimes, earlier we kind of addressed guys living with women over there. Now I want to talk about guys who actually have children in the Dominican Republic. Guys that have children and stay in the Dominican Republic, and guys that have children and come and they move to the United States, but they still want to be able to see their children. What do you do if you have a situation like that and you want to establish something like a custody agreement? No, better yet, you want to establish the child is born in the Dominican Republic and they want to make sure the child has citizenship, but they also want to establish some sort of custody. Is that something that you can handle?
Yes, we do friendship custody agreement, even though sometimes because of them, if a minor is involved, it is necessary to get in touch with the court division to obtain, for example, departure authorization. Remember that once a child is born in the Dominican Republic, in order to leave the Dominican Republic, it needs the guardian's consent. So that's something very important to know. And it's also very important to know for any United citizens of the United States that even though a child is born in the United States, they can declare it at the United States consulate as a U.S. child and obtain a passport for that child as well.
Okay. Do you ever have any issues where men are forced to pay child support in the Dominican Republic to their
Yes.
Dominican? Well, tell us about that, because that seems to be a hot topic today.
It is very dramatic. Depends on the case. It's very dramatic because, as you know, Dominican women are very explosive and very dramatic in general.
Oh yeah. Oh.
So we had the cases where I had a few clients where I had to represent them in front of a judge for getting child support. The main thing here is to be honest and to prove what your means are, because sometimes, as I said, it's a cultural idea that if you live in the United States, you're rich, and that's not always, it's not the case. We're all living in struggling times. So it's important to be honest when you appear in court and to show and to have the evidence. That's also very important, to have the evidence what your income is, because the judge ultimately will be fair and base the child support on your income, and the cost of living in the Dominican Republic, not the cost of living in the United States. So, and also it's very important to keep, if you have a child in the Dominican Republic, my recommendation would be that you keep every receipt, everything that you send to that child or to the mother. Just be organized. When you are organized, my experience has been that we can move smoothly to show the judge what has been going on and that that father has been responsible for the child.
Okay, so tell us. I know there's a lot of guys doing a lot of stuff. Guys get down there and they get wild. And sometimes they end up in la cárcel. And so what I want to know, let's say you got a drunk client, he gets arrested. Some of his friends come looking for you and they say, Senora Janet Garcia, we saw you on Dennis Sperling's blog about a year ago. Our buddy got arrested and he was hanging out in Sosua too late drinking, and he got arrested and taken to jail in Puerto Plata. Can you help him out with that?
Well, we have connections. I personally don't like to get involved in that area, but I have my connections at the police. I have police officers in Puerto Plata that have helped me with that in the past. So as I said at the beginning, I will guide you through the people who can help that person to get out of jail or to get the bail out and all that. We have the elements to them.
And just on a personal note, I'm not Jeanette, Senora Garcia is my lawyer in the Dominican Republic. She's helped me find places to live, that villa that you guys love to look at. She's helped me find my corporation, Coffee King International, which I have a sister company here in Houston, Texas. And what that has allowed me to do is open up a bank account in the Dominican Republic, a process that she started. So as I'm making money, I can put my money in my Dominican bank account. The money's there. It's a stable country. And you guys should realize right now that, without me going too far into it, that's a great thing to have. You got your own Dominican bank account with your own money that you put in there. And it's safe, it's secure. And I think I bank with that. You could either bank with Scotia Bank, and there's another couple of banks down there, La Popular, which is a national bank. and your money is safe down there. Is that something that you can do? Tell us, when you open up, and you can open up a corporation there, because you've done it for me. What are the benefits that come from having your attorney open a company for you in the Dominican Republic?
Yes, basically we know the law is not something that, as the United States, anybody can open a company. Normally in the Dominican Republic, it has to be done by a lawyer because there are certain regulations that you need to take care of, and especially if you're opening a bank account. Right now, the authorities are being more conservative in terms of the companies, how the accounts are open, and I think it's an international trend. But if you're having a business operation in the Dominican Republic, we can assist with that, forming the company. It can be a sole ownership company, and you can open the bank account the same way. Or it can be a corporation with membership interest, which for that you need two minimum members at least. And we can assist you with that, of forming the company and doing all the necessary steps to open the bank account.
Okay. Now, the thing, before I get going, hey, you guys, if you're enjoying this, you need to contribute to the Super Chat. You need to hit me up on the PayPal. You need to contribute to the Cash App. This is not information you're going to get anywhere else. The only reason Janet is wasting her time talking to me, right, is because, number one, I'm a client, okay? And number two, because she's a wonderful person and she wants you guys to know that she's available to help you guys out. Her email is abogada Janet Garcia. You can get her at jgarcia@garciablanco.com. Now she is also, she's in Miami, and she's also in the Dominican Republic, which means that what you can have an in-person meeting if you're willing to pay that fee. Always charge the fee, and I think you can probably do Zoom meetings too. So if you need to consult with Jay Garcia, Senora Janet Garcia, hit her up right there. It's right there on the screen. jgarcia@garciablanco.com. Now here's the thing. I want you to just tell us some war stories. Tell us. You can start off like this. What's some of the issues that a lot of men have when they come down there? This is just tourists coming down. Tell us the foolishness that they get into. And you guys need to contribute to the Super Chat because this is going to be fun. This is what lawyers talk about when you non-lawyers aren't around. Tell us the stuff that these guys, the drama they create down there in the Dominican Republic.
I think
Gringos in the DR. Go ahead.
And especially gringos in the North Coast. Unfortunately, everybody comes with these expectations, and I call what it is, or we say, is the Sosua effect. When you get down from the plane and then you get sparkled by the view, the island, the beautiful women, and you just forget everything about you, and you feel like a king. Yeah, that's how I see it. You feel like you're powerful there. Everybody's nice with you. And then you get into a relationship with a beautiful lady over there, and you just get obnubilated by whatever can happen. The next thing you know, you're moving in with that person that you hardly know, and you fall in love, and you put all your money there and I've seen so many men come with money, and this is not to be derogatory or anything like that, but you need to be careful, guys, because there are so many people that will try to get advantage from you. So even if you have good intention, it's always important to use your head and consult the right people. Because, I've seen fortunes. Literally, I've seen clients with $1 million that came from retirement. They bought a house. Wow. And 3 or 4 years later, they had to sell their house. Had to go and defend them against women, telling them they're being violent. So it's the two sides of the coin. My country is beautiful. Dominican Republic is great. It's safe. It's a beautiful place to retire if you want to retire. But as any foreign country, you need to know where to go and who to get the support from. You can do all the crazy things. You can fall in love. You can get married. You can divorce. You can have children. But always keep a little bit of your brain open, just to be smart.
So tell us. So you say and I don't want you to divulge any attorney-client privilege, but you can tell us what you heard. Tell us one of the stories about the guy who lost $1 million and had to sell his house. Tell us generally. You don't have to give any names or anything like that. But tell us, and make sure y'all donate to the Super Chat, because this is better than the telenovelas that you will see anywhere in America. And I've been watching them because my beautiful, lovely Dominican girlfriend has gotten me addicted. Mami, ven acá, por favor, ven acá. I want you to meet Señora Garcia. I've been watching telenovelas. It's horrible. I'm addicted. I sit up all day. It's like, oh my God, look at that. That's crazy. This is Señora Garcia right there. This is my Ivy
Hi,
League
very nice to meet you. I heard
girlfriend.
nice to meet you too.
Soy una gringa del norte.
Ah, sí, gringa de, yo no soy gringo, yo soy hombre, verdad de República Dominicana. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. That all jokes aside. Okay, so look, tell us these stories because these guys need to hear this because this is the type of stuff we talk about here. This is real stuff. Tell them what happens. You go, you get off the plane. You see these beautiful brown women with this long flowing hair that can dance a bachata, and then next thing you know, you've fallen in love. You found you an apartment somewhere in Cabarete. You're paying all the bills. You're giving money to the whole family. Everybody loves you.
Exactly, the whole family moves.
The king, you've never been treated this well in your life. You come from the Matrix in America, where you got to cook your food, bring the food home, and still deal with your angry, yelling wife every day. And now they go down there, they finish with that starter marriage, the kids are in college, they go down to the DR to retire, and the next thing you know, they fell in love. You take it from there. What happened? Talk to me.
And then, you know, people come with their clear mind on what they want to do. They want to buy a lot. For example, this person wanted to buy he bought a property. He started building the house. The house was beautiful. Everything was impeccable. He spent a lot of money in a grand house, but then he started getting into women, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. And money, if you don't invest the money wisely, money disappears. I mean, you can have the money in the house, but if you don't create the way to generate more, it will go away. So what he was in a pattern that he will open a business for each woman he met. So each person he met, he will open a business. So he will think he will generate from one point to the other. And at the end of the day, he had to sell the house. There was no business, obviously, because the women just left. And then he had to sell the house. He's still there, and he still loved it. It was an experience, but you know, his money was diminished. And
that was an expensive experience. That was. He spent $1 million on women. That's basically what.
Yes, on opening business and his house. And luckily, he was able to sell the house. That's very lucky.
My goodness.
He was lucky enough.
Okay. So so that's one thing. So at what point are you the type of person that will say, hey, look, we'll just call him John Smith. John, your accountant gave me a call. You're spending money fast. I need you to come in and have a conversation with me about this. Are you the lawyer that'll give him a call and have him come in and have a conference? Or would you do that? Take those liberties? It
depends on the closeness, because obviously, as an attorney, you wouldn't want to trespass the boundaries of client relationship. But if it was an old client, like a recurring client for different aspects, which happens. You know, when they come for one thing, it leads to the other. So I will give them the advice. I have one, for example, that had a relationship, and he came to me to make the prenup. They got married, they made the prenup, and then he came to me to get divorced because nothing worked. And then he came back to me because he remarried the same woman. Oh, so it's like a never-ending cycle. The woman left with the money. It was a whole difficult story. But they came back again. So you have to be very careful on what your boundaries are as well, because at the end of the day, it's the person's decision. You can give them advice, but it's their choice.
Yeah. You know, my experience when I lived there, I lived in Torre Alta. You know, I had a couple of different places, as you know, but my first place was actually your condo. I rented her condo, that little condo I had on the beach where I would walk out and sit in the chair. Jeanette was so kind enough to let me rent that from her for a little while. And then I moved to Torre Alta, which is in Puerto Plata. It was only like $300 a month. I got a chance to open it. So you can live very well there. But even when I was in Torre Alta, I always made it a point to keep connected with Senora Jeanette's company. Let them know where I was, let them look over leases. If I was purchasing furniture or something like that, I would email it to them. I would scan it in email so she can keep a record of all of my things. This is why you want to have an attorney like Senora Garcia on call, because she'll know where you are. She's basically your guardian angel when you're living in this foreign country, because you really don't know anybody else. And you're going to, if anything happens bad, you're going to be arrested by police and appear in front of a magistrate that you don't know. And so you want to be able to say, well, my attorney, Senora Garcia, is on her way down here. And they'll say, oh, okay, well, we know her. We know somebody from her friend. We'll give you a break. You got a lawyer. It's the same thing if you come to Houston, Texas, and you say, Dennis Sperling is my attorney. 9 times out of 10, somebody, oh, okay, I know him. All right, yeah, okay, we'll cut your break. Because they'll call me up, Dennis, does this clown belong to you? Come get him. You see what I'm saying? That's how that works. When you have a well-connected attorney like Senora Garcia, you want to make sure you keep that attorney on retainer. You want to make sure she knows where you are. You have a file. She has a file. She knows where you live. You know, and so this is why I advocate, if you guys who are planning on leaving the matrix, that's what they call the United States. They call it the matrix. If you plan on leaving the matrix as a black man, especially, you want to make sure you have set up a foundation, a landing zone with people, with professionals that are looking out for your best interests. So thank you so much, Senora Garcia. Can you tell them again how they can get in contact with you?
Yes, you can send me an email to jgarcia@garciablanco.com, and I will respond immediately and send you my contact details. With any consultation you want, I'll give you the first consultation free of charge, and then we'll go from there. Okay?
All right. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. And hey, look, next time I get out to Miami, we got to go hang out and have some of that, some good food down there in Brickell. All right?
Yes. Okay. You're welcome.
All right. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much, Senora. Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
All right, fellas, I hope you enjoyed that. Look, I'm going to open up the call lines here. I'm going to open up the stream lines here so that you guys can come on in and talk about it. Let's see, did you learn anything? Is that helpful? Do you have any more questions for Senora Garcia? If so, come on in, let's talk about it. She's probably still looking. She may be able to send me an email or a text message as we speak. But in the meantime, if you're enjoying this conversation, if you like this type of programming, if you find this helpful, and it's not just words, you know, I'm definitely entertaining you guys, right? So I want you guys to make sure you donate, and make sure you hit the super chat up. Make sure you hit the PayPal and the Cash App up. I mean, it's only the right thing to do. So I want you guys to do that. I'm going to take a quick break and come right back, but you know how we do it. In the meantime, I'm going to give y'all something to look at. How about that?
Yo no quiero una novia, no quiero una esposa, quiero solo una chica fresca, quiero solo una chica fresca, quiero solo una chica fresca, quiero solo una chica fresca. Huepa, huepa, ¿dónde está la marihuana? Y tu amiga es Mariana, Marisol, Melissa, Lisbeth y chica flaca, es hora de la fiesta. Huepa, huepa, estoy aquí por 2 días y regresa a Houston, H-Town, home of that true sound. Swanging, banging them busters and them boys coming down. Them boys coming down. Them boys coming down. Houston, H-Town, them boys coming down.
What's up, y'all? We back again. And look, we got my homeboy regular here on this show, Vanguard. What's up, Vanguard? Talk to us, man. What's happening, man? Did you pick up anything? Did you learn some good stuff from Senora Garcia?
Absolutely. Lots of great information, uncommon information. So I call it game. You know, a lot of good game in that small time frame that you guys did. Appreciate that.
Well, good. Look, you know what? The thing is, man, and I don't know how extensively you travel. Do you have plans on either moving overseas or going overseas and staying for an extended period of time? And if so, what place do you plan to go to?
Well, I like to have maneuverability. That's a huge thing for me. And essentially, yeah, I plan on, you know, I've traveled pretty extensively, but I plan on leaving this country for sure. I think that that's going to be a necessity in the coming years, you know, particularly for black men, you know.
What plans are you making to leave? And I don't want you to divulge your secrets, but how much money do you think you need? Have you laid a foundation? Have you gone to the places where you think you want to go? Have you at least contemplated those places? Is there going to be a culture shock? Is there going to be a language difference? What do you think these young folks what do you think these people should anticipate?
Well, definitely, number one, for brothers, get your money up. You know, you got to have a way to make some type of substantial income to where you can take care of yourself and you can also take care of your plans and your dreams. And having residuals and things like that is what's most important, I think. So that's what I'm working on right now, getting into real estate. Unfortunately, I'm going to be re-enlisting in the future, so I'll be stuck here for the next couple years, but I'm only 27. So my plan is to use a lot of that money, those extra funds, and from my IRAs and things like that I have set up currently to move myself out of the country. I'm looking at the, you know, DR, Brazil, anywhere where there's a sizable population of brown people, you know, because the you know, that's necessary, you know, on top.
So you basically got your escape plan together. Now, a lot of people say stuff like, oh, why you leaving? This country belongs to us. My response to that is, you know what, the whole world belongs to you, man. It's where you go and be where you want to be, wherever you're comfortable. What do you say to people who try to shame you into staying in the United States simply because you were born here?
See, the problem is, you know, a lot of us, you know, people, we're bitter, jealous people at times, you know. We see a lot of brothers who, and I'm sure you've seen it firsthand as an extremely successful brother yourself, there's a lot of that comes out. So a lot of that is jealousy or envy or hatred. And that's just, that's a good sign, you know. And also, you can do both. You know, you can help your people here and also, you know, do your own thing. You can do both. I think that's doable, you know.
Yeah. And if you don't want to help your people, I understand that too. It's not,
yeah.
I mean, I get it. You know what I mean? We're not trying to, we don't need the virtue signal here. You see what I mean? We don't need to say, oh, you can't help your people. Who said I'm gonna help my people in the first place? I mean, that's the thing. But what I'm telling you, brothers, if you want to, that's fine. If you don't want to, that's fine. You are free. And I tell black men this all the time. We've done our time in the United States. We were the first ones off the boat in 1619. And we did slavery nearly all by ourselves all the way up until 1805 or 1806, really 1808, when they outlawed slavery, and then they start bringing black women to the United States. But we have been beaten, we've been worked to death, we've been sexually assaulted, we've been over incarcerated, we've been hung, we've been lynched, castrated. You have done your time. You paid your debt to the United States. You built this country. You don't owe them your entire life. There are black men's backs and necks and shoulders that you stand on to get you here. And you use that as a launch pad if you see fit. Now, if you want to stay in the United States, you've earned the right to do that. But if you want to leave, you've earned the right to do that, and no one should be able to shame you into staying. You should live your life and find peace of mind and happiness wherever you are. Brother, what other advice do you give these young men who are thinking about, maybe I can leave, maybe I can't, I'm kind of afraid, but I want to go? What was the first steps you took to even begin to start traveling?
Well, basically, the first key is getting out of that comfort zone, getting out of that, you know, whatever it be, whether you're a middle class brother or hood brother, getting out of that comfort zone and getting outside of the toxic ADOS culture with the shaming and all that kind of stuff. Understand that you're an individual and you can have some sort of cultural respect. That's honorable, and that's the thing that you should do as a man. But understand that rugged individualism is also a great thing, and that's what you should be doing as a man, is getting out here and making yourself uncomfortable so that you can be comfortable, period, you know?
What?
And also, to talk about your topic, I wanted to talk about your topic. You said you speak very constantly about race loyalty. There's a book that was written called Sisters of the Atlantic Slave Trade that talks about the fact that, and I don't want to drag sisters, but this whole, you know, black women are the backbones of the black community. That hasn't ever been the case. And brothers need to start looking into history and looking at these books and these documents. And like you said, you know, really the sisters didn't come over here until the slave trade was abolished. The transatlantic slave trade was abolished. So they needed these sisters here for the breeding. And that's where that came in. And this whole concept of black women have always, you know, that's not true. That's false. And this is backed up by history.
And but see, that's the lock that keeps black men in. It makes them feel guilty about leaving because they like, look, I don't want to leave the sisters. They've had our back since day one, and that's just not true, fella. They worked you from sun up to sundown. It was pretty much the population in the United States, as the Africans from Africa captured, was only at about 400,000 all the way up to 1808, more or less. And it was only after that, from 1808 to 1860, that the population exploded to 4 million because they had the breeding plot. They had that whole breeding farms and all of that in place. So that's why it increased by like tenfold. And it happened because they needed more slaves. Remember, the country was really small in 1619. It was only consisted of a few territories and whatnot. And then in 1776, you had the colonies. It's 13 colonies, and most of that was on either the northeast or the mid-Atlantic. And then the country began to expand. And over that next 100 years until 1860 or 90 years, it began to expand. So they needed more people. They needed more slaves. They needed more enslaved Africans. And so at the point where they said, we're going to outlaw slavery, the country was still growing. And so they still had to keep the slave population. But before that, there was never any intention to have a former group of slaves or enslaved blacks as a permanent member of this population. It was never any intent. So that's why oftentimes for us, you know, when we say American, we don't necessarily think of black Americans. Matter of fact, that's why we qualify our nationality with black first. So we're black Americans, or you're black before you're an American. Because the real Americans, as most people see our way, as the propaganda goes, are, you know, white folks. And that's just the reality. So if you want to go there, and so you feel like you're unwanted. So if you want to go somewhere where you will feel like you're wanted, it's good to go where there are people that look like you. And that's why I like Colombia. I like the countries where they have Afro-Latinos. I have not yet been to Africa. I intend to go to Ghana, but for the most part, I'm speaking on what I know. If you want to join into the conversation, join in. I placed the stream link here in the app. We got 61 people. Well, we got like over 99 people watching. Wow, that's good. But I want you guys to join in. Add on. Vanguard is a regular guest here. He comes in all the time. He's a well-traveled young man. As he said, he's military, so he's been all around the world. And so, you know, he's released it. He's no longer afraid to use that passport. I mean, the military's sent you all around the world, so he's used to it. And I guess that's a good way to go ahead and dust the wheels dust the cobwebs off the wheels, joining the military. Now I know that requires a lot, but what I'm saying is, fellas, I mean, what I'm saying is, you got to start getting out there. But I'm telling you, there are other options out there than stressing yourself out when the police pull up behind you in the United States, stressing yourself out, hoping that you don't get hit with child support, stressing yourself out, hoping you don't get racially profiled. It's just too much stress, and there are places you can go where you can blend in. Isn't there some Vanguard? Isn't there something to be said for going somewhere where you just look like everybody else? How does that feel, going somewhere where you look just like everybody else and nobody can distinguish you from anybody else by color? Yeah, when you open your mouth, you know, but for the most, you speak in English. But what do you think about that?
Well, there's a level of respect that we get as American black men in other places, you know, and that's not really talked about that often. And these other places, we say all the time, they have a culture of respect. You know, there's a culture where the women and the men, you know, there's a masculine and there's a feminine. I'm not really sure about with the whole social thing and how it goes in these other countries, but things that are pushed in America under the guise of liberalism, that's not happening in these other places. Now, it might be happening now. We haven't been in these places recently. But that's what's most important. When you're around people who look like you, if there's an issue, you know what the issue is about. It's a personal issue. It's not anything that's based off anything superficial as your skin color, you know. So just that in the Lord, it takes a lot of stress off of you. And that's something that's very necessary. You know, the amount of stress that we're under here in America, that can make or break you. You know, if you don't have the mental capacity to deal with that, and if you do, you can handle any drama anywhere, you know. So again, it's a great feeling being around people who look like you, period. And no matter who you are, you know, especially when you can get in and become one of the power brokers in these places.
Was it helpful hearing from Attorney Garcia this evening? Oh, I think we lost Vanguard. You think it was helpful hearing from Attorney Garcia, and how did that help you? If you don't mind sharing.
Well, just knowing that, you know, there are people in other places, somewhere, even somewhere like the Dominican Republic, who would be able to have my best interest, you know. And I understand that there's a transaction that has to take place, a monetary transaction. Even seeing the sister on the camera, and she's in a great mood. She's smiling. She's happy. She's very intelligent. She's well connected. She's somebody that can change my life, change your life, change my life, change your perspective, and be helpful. And then connection, because network is net worth, right? So if you know somebody like that who can help, you know, now I'm actually considering the DR, you know, in the near future, making sure there and seeing what I can get into, you know, in terms of business and things of that nature. You know?
Y'all never forget that Uncle D is the plug, okay? If you need something in pretty much easily anywhere in the United States, I'm pretty well connected. There's not too many people I don't know or can't get to within a few phone calls. And then I'm also pretty well connected in places like the Dominican Republic, Colombia, and many other places, even Costa Rica, Jamaica. I'm pretty well connected anywhere. I have my feelers around different places just from people I've met, interacted with. And, you know, I kind of gravitate towards people like myself, upbeat people, very professional. So you guys feel free to hit me up. If you want a free consult, not free, I ain't doing no free consultation. Well, y'all take advantage of me. But what I will do, if you want a paid consultation, give me a call or email me and we can talk about it. But I'm gonna go ahead and take a quick break, man. And I want you guys to make sure you comment, make sure you donate to the Cash App. It's right there. Make sure you donate to the Super Chat. I haven't got enough Super Chats in here today. It feels like y'all cheating me. It seems like the only time I get you guys to donate to Super Chats and give me money is when I'm on here arguing with people. And I'm tired of arguing with people. I want to be nice, be kind. We can have some rough dudes come on here in the last couple of days. They want to overtalk me and everything. And I don't want to cut you off. All right. But what I need you guys to do is make sure you donate to the Super Chat. Show me that you appreciate what I'm doing here. It takes a lot of energy to bring folks in. So look, check this out. Donate to the Super Chat. I'll be back. All right. If you guys don't know, that's Uncle D. Like I tell you all the time, Uncle D is a legend, man. Uncle D does it all. Rap songs, music videos, whatever you want. I got it going on, man. I don't have any, I never held back, man. I don't have any regrets. You know what I'm saying? So it's no problem for me to hook you guys up, whatever you need to be hooked up with. But tonight we're talking about brothers planning to leave the Matrix. And I want you guys to really consider what I've said. I hope you appreciate what I'm doing here tonight. It's about 1 hour and 3 minutes into the programming. And since you guys are, you know, if you appreciate what we're doing here, man, go ahead and donate to the Super Chat. And look, what's up, Thanos, the Inevitable? That's my dude right there. What's happening, man? Talk to me.
Uncle D, what's up, man?
What's good, brother? Talk to me, man. Did you enjoy Attorney Janet on the vlog tonight? Was she helpful?
Most definitely. In fact, it made me consider a couple of things for, you know, my own future. I don't have any, like, you know, lawyers or legal assistants on the ground, you know, where I'm planning on going. So it's something for me to look into.
Well, you know, the thing is, man, did you hear what she said? Somebody went down there with $1 million retired, okay, and bought every woman he was dating a new business, okay, and had to sell his house. Now he's still there, okay, but that right there is a level of sympathy that should be chronicled and studied in detail. Can you believe that, man? Can you believe that?
I mean, I wish I could say that I can't believe it, but I can. That dude is just desperate to be loved. Like, in my case, if I go overseas and meet a woman or something like that, if it don't work out with the first one, I'm not committing to another one. If it ain't worked the first time, then it's just not for me. Because it ain't work for me either.
I mean, I hear you, man, but let me show you something right quick. Because, you know, Uncle D got the footage. So let me show you something real quick. You tell me. Now let's pretend like this. You done dated a woman. It didn't work out, okay? And then, you know, you find another woman and you don't know you like her, but then she came over to hang out with you, you took her to the pool, and this happened. So that happened. And then that kept happening every time. Do you see how easy it is to get caught up over there in these foreign countries? When you're in the United States, you've been getting treated bad, and then you go over there, you find some women who are fine, fit, and friendly. You see how easy it is to blow through $1 million, man? I mean, just think about it. You want to keep them all happy, right? You see how easy it is, bro?
Yeah, I definitely get it.
Yeah.
Just gotta try to keep them at arm's length. Don't let them manipulate me.
All right. I mean, we right now we talking about the escape plan and where we gonna go. But see, the other thing you need to think about is you really got to get your mind right. You see what I'm saying? And I'm glad I'm gonna use this because you're somebody I can chop it up with. You and I have been interacting on Facebook for years now, and so you still can't leave your red pill knowledge, as the young brothers call it, in the United States, because women are the same all around the world. Now, the thing that I've learned is the most important thing you need to do if you're gonna move to a foreign country is you need to understand the language. Because once they realize that you understand the language and they like that, they'll have a whole nother respect for it. And here's another thing. Learn the language and then immerse yourself in the culture. Don't live outside the culture, live in the culture. Go to the family parties, okay? Interact with the fathers and the uncles and the brothers and watch how they raise their children. So you'll know how men are supposed to act, because those DR dudes are not spending $1 million on these women. Matter of fact, if you really get down to it, and I hate to say this, but they call black men bad, and even the truth is we're real low on the total. We treat women, we're very egalitarian compared to the rest of these men around the world.
Yes.
Which may go to our detriment, because I mean, if I can use colloquial terms, we too soft though. And they recognize the softness. We hadn't been treated that well. And until you get used to get treated that well, and it took me 10 years. It took me 10 years of traveling to the Dominican Republic and traveling to Colombia and Costa Rica and all these other places to realize as a man how I was supposed to be treated. You see what I mean? And then now I'm accustomed to it, and now I expect nothing less. So, I mean, talk to them, brother. Talk to them. Tell them why they should lose their mind down there, even though they met somebody as fine as that young lady I had bouncing in the jacuzzi that day. Tell them why. Bro. Talk to them.
I mean, it's just like, let me tell you just one thing. When I was in Africa, like 2 months ago.
Okay.
I was with my girl who was in an apartment and all this other stuff. We were just chilling, watching TV, spending time together. She had made dinner. And she was just like laying in the bed, all comfortable. I'm just like, okay, well, she all comfortable. Let me just go and get my food because I'm hungry now. Because I think I was working remotely at the time, just doing some work on my job, stuff like that. So I get up, I go make my plate. She's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I was gonna make you a plate." I'm like, "Oh, I mean, you kind of look kind of comfortable. I didn't want to bother you." I said, "That's sweet," but I said I was gonna do it for you.
Right.
Like, all right, okay.
Yeah.
When the last time a woman other than not even my mother would make me a plate?
Yeah. See, the thing is, man, like guys in the U.S. don't realize that when you start getting treated like that, when you have a woman catering to you, at first it's like, oh my God, you feel awkward. Like, man, I got her, sir. You start feeling bad because things start going on in your mind. Oh, you don't want a wife, you want a slave. You want a servant. You want a woman to submit to you, kiss your feet, and you feel bad about that because you've been guilted and shamed into not being not accept. You are so accustomed to not being treated well. You feel awkward when somebody does treat you well, man.
Exactly.
You see what I mean? Isn't that crazy that we've been treated so bad as black men in America that it's hard for us to accept good treatment?
It's
I mean, think about that, man.
It's absolutely abysmal that our mind is so warped and messed up that we cannot accept being treated the way we're supposed to be treated.
The way the rest of the men in the world are being treated, we are so unaccustomed to being treated well, to be catered to be served hand and foot. I mean, it's sad. It's sad. So it really is, man. And I hate to say this, man, but I suffered the same thing. And what I do now is I began taking my young boys to places like the Dominican Republic and Colombia. They've been to Belize, they've been to Jamaica, so that they can see. And we didn't just go there for like a weekend trip or go hang out on on a cruise, but we went there and they immersed themselves in the culture. They played baseball. We'll stay there for 30 days at a time. They play baseball. They perform martial arts enroll in different martial arts schools, judo. They actually played baseball at Sasua with the kids there, Shotokan. And so they got a chance to interact with the children, both the boys and the girls. Matter of fact, I put pictures up of my boys having a birthday party down there in Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic. I don't know if I still have it on deck. No, I probably deleted it by now.
I think I remember that video. Wasn't that the one with the dolphin poop at you?
That was exactly right. But they see how even the little girls treat them with so much respect.
Yeah.
You see, even the little girls treat my son, hi, how are you? And they treat them with so much reverence and disrespect. You see what I'm saying? So they get used to that. So they won't have to go through that awkward feeling of being treated well. Because see, what happens is nowadays in America, even if a woman does if she makes you a sandwich, oh my God, you ready to give her a diamond ring, man, because she made you a sandwich at 11 o'clock at night. You see what I mean? You're giving too much credit to people who are doing. They put in the absolute minimum, and they get saying, "Oh, she's the best woman in the world." You passing out wedding invitations because the woman cooked you a meal twice this week. You see what I'm saying, brother? Whereas in other countries like that, you get women who are beautiful, who are young, who are gorgeous, who are geared in their culture to do this. This is what they do, and they don't really expect anything in return for it, other than you paying the bills, you cooking, you cleaning, you're nice to me, you treat me right, like any other woman in the world. I mean, has that been something would you like to elaborate on that, or you want to tell us what your experiences have been?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like you said. It's like, I mean, with my girl right now, she actually told me that I've treated her the best out of every man she's ever been with. All the dudes over there in Africa, they got like 2, 3, 4 other women at the same time in addition to her. So it's just like,
and that's the same thing in the Dominican Republic, because they got a plethora of beautiful women, so they don't treat any one of them with any sort of true love or appreciation, because they literally come a dime a dozen. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, man, it's a trip, man. I love having these conversations with you brothers, man. A lot of these folks don't follow my Facebook page. They're new to me. We got brothers from the UK. We got a lot of people. They don't really know what I've been putting down over on Facebook for at least the past 4 years, man. So tell them about my Facebook page. We got a few minutes left, but you guys got to understand that Thanos Inevitable, of course, that's not the brother's real name. He's one of my favorites. I have a lot of young brothers I interact with, and I know we've been interacting for years. They know they can come to my forum, my Facebook forum, and they don't have to worry about being shamed. We talk about all sorts of things. We talk about relationships with our family members. We talk about traveling. We talk about finance. We talk about mental health. We talk about so many different things. What's your experience been like on my Facebook page, man?
I mean, for the years that I've been there, there's been really just some life-changing information that has just been passed through. Like, I've seen some really enlightening stuff. And of course, there's always you always get a couple of laughs when some women come in and try to shame you and disrespect you and all that other stuff. And you send it to the block party. That's hilarious.
You gotta send them to the block
every time.
Oh,
it's
man.
just like, if you don't do it, then they're gonna block you, and they gonna get you blocked. Try to silence you, man. Block you off your own page.
Why is it that what I'm saying is so controversial? Me telling black men you have options, that you should love yourself, that you are free. Why do you think that's so controversial here in the Matrix in the United States?
I mean, we've been like the workhorses and utilities for the black community for like past 50 years since the drugs and all this other nonsense. We basically between MLK, Malcolm X, Black Panthers, JFK, all the stuff that's going on in the 60s, we basically almost took down the country, because if we actually started an armed revolution at the time that the Soviets were still running around and doing stuff. That means that we got an internal conflict within the country, and a global superpower would probably be sending weapons our way. And then they go and do whatever the heck they want to do throughout the rest of the world. So that's why they just went and just killed everybody associated with all the old movements to prevent anything like that from happening. And then since then, they flooded the community with drugs after that to keep us down.
Yeah.
So it's just like, we've been down for like how long? And it's just like, they gave the power to like the black women for them to like, you know, basically run the community. And now they just like, well, we don't need y'all. Y'all mess it up. So we gonna do whatever we want. And like, you know, if we raise our standards, that means that they are now accountable. If we decide that we don't want to deal with them anymore, then that means that they no longer have their workhorse utility force.
Yeah. Woo, yeah, you're right about that. So basically it's self-preservation is what you're saying. So yeah, that's pretty much what everybody says it. But you know, I try to tell these brothers, man, you free, man. You don't have to deal with that anymore. You're a man. You know, part of being a man is saying, you know what, I'm not hurting anybody. What I'm doing is legal. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna do what's in my own best interest. You know, why is that so hard to get that matriarchal programming out of these brothers' minds? That's the thing I want to know. Why do you think that is? I mean, yeah, I guess I'm speaking for myself. It took me 10 years to finally realize there was other places better to live. But why do you think it's so hard?
I'm still trying to find an answer to that myself. I mean, it's just like, I have my pops, but he was raised by a single mother himself. And I could see the damage from, like, you know, the ratchet matriarch stuff. It was passed down to him. And then I had to see the things that he had to go through with my mom's, his wife. And it's just like, and then it's in me. I mean, it's less so, but it's still there. And now I gotta fight it off. So it's just like, it's just to the benefit of basically everybody except black men to program us with this matriarchal nonsense to just put the women on the pedestal and do everything they say. It benefits the white folks because it keeps us subservient to somebody who is subservient to them. It benefits the women because they got somebody to take care of them and pay their bills and all this other nonsense. So it's just so beneficial to everybody else. And I mean, we just gotta just get the mental and testicular fortitude as a whole to just say, no, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
And then we just gotta, it's just a matter of just figuring out how to deprogram it. Like whatever therapy we gotta do, neuro-linguistic programming, like hypnotic suggestion therapy, whatever we gotta do, we gotta get this out of us, man. We have to.
You know, brother, I think we're done. I think some of us will go, but for the most part, we have to look through our own sons and our daughters. We have to raise them in cultures where this toxicity, this self-hate, this is embedded in us is not so prevalent. I think that's pretty much all we can do, man. I don't think we can get those simp chips out of us. I don't think we can, you know, but we're trying. And you know, what's happening is you have a burgeoning group of black men who are saying, you know, we're fed up and we're not going to take it anymore. And we've reached a critical mass of it. So now the word is coming out. You can't hide it anymore.
Yes, sir.
You know, and people like yourself, you know, and I guess me too, we're the tip of the spear, you know, and once we burst through that initial covering, that initial barrier, you know, I feel like, you know, the general enlisted troops will come bursting through, you know, and we're going to open the door up and it's not going to close anymore. In the next 20 or 30 years, I believe that black men especially will be so mobile. I think it'll be just like we get 18, graduate from college and go move to a state to get a job. I think we're going to graduate from college, move or get a job and go live overseas. I think it's going to be just that prevalent. I think we're going to begin to move.
I hope so.
Yeah. Man, look, I'm about to cut out of here. Thank you so much, Thanos Inevitable. I appreciate you. I appreciate your patronage on the Facebook. I always enjoy your comments. Some people are just my favorites. You're one of them. whenever I see your you pop up on my Facebook page, man, I always read your comments. I love it. Oftentimes, you know, I post your comments in the main box because you have some very insightful and poignant words that need to be shared. I initially started my Facebook page to allow Black men to be heard. At the point I started it, I was I had a top earning television show, highly rated, and people were watching me from all over the country. My Facebook page was popping, and so many other different things. Often my appearances on different channels, Fox News and CW, was out there. But the problem that I had was my brothers weren't being heard. And I know it was a frustrating time. This is maybe 2015, 2016, at the end of Barack Obama's presidency, where we realized he had lied to us and there was no hope coming. And so I decided to do that for the brothers. And here we are now, you know, on the cusp of really, you know, starting something or really in the midst of something grand, where a Black male revolution is what I see.
Yes, sir. And
so, yeah, so I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna wrap this thing up, man, and talk to these brothers before we get out of here. And man, hang in there, keep doing what you're doing, man. And, hey, look, man, send some pictures, man. Next time you go to Africa, I want to see what it looks like over there. All right, bro? We'll post it up on your Facebook page and tag me. All right?
Most definitely. I'm gonna send you a couple. I appreciate everything you ever done, man.
Thank you so much.
Really changed my life, man.
Oh, man, I'm a humble servant of God. I'm just here to preach a message, so all the praise goes to God. But so any wisdom that you derive from me, give the credit to our Father in heaven. Okay, brother? That's the best thing you can do for me. All right?
Yes, sir. I will do that.
All right. Amen. Talk to you later, bro.
No doubt.
All right. So look, Thanos is out of here. I hope you all enjoyed this broadcast. What you were able to get from here was some actual practical knowledge. Yeah, I know Thanos and I were chopping it up at the end, but early on, you got a chance to interact with, or you got a chance to listen to me interact with a licensed attorney in the Dominican Republic who's well connected. Senora Garcia is available if you need consultations. She's a great lawyer. She's my lawyer, and she's the type of person that you want to know if you get down to the Dominican Republic and you want to set up roots. If you guys like this, then go ahead and, you know, this will be posted on my YouTube page. Put in the comments any other countries focused on Central America and South America you want to know about. And what I'll do is I'll get the professionals in and we'll have that conversation and educate you. And if you decide that you want to work with those people, I'll have their information up there for you to get in contact with. But look, if you guys want to keep this going, if you really appreciate this, everybody tells me how much I've helped them out, how much I've changed their lives, how the things that I've said have, you know, the things that I've said have really helped them see something different. But the only way you can truly show me your appreciation is donating to the super chat. We got somebody in here. Joe C says he want to see Colombia. Joe C, you want me to talk about Colombia, but you got to donate to the super chat. If you want me to pay attention to you, let me know. Hey, you put your money where your mouth is. You let me know. You know, you let me know what you appreciate, the programs you appreciate. And number one, by the likes and the shares. And number two, by contributing to the super chat, by contributing to the Cash App, by contributing to the PayPal. That's how you let me know you like this. I'm in here talking to you guys twice a day about pertinent issues affecting Black men. And the only people that are going to keep me going is Black men. And you're going to keep me going with your dollars. You're going to keep me calling these people, keep me bringing these people in, and keep me interested in it with your dollars. So make sure you contribute to the Cash App, fellas. But either way, look, I hope you enjoyed the show. I'll see y'all again soon. This is Uncle D. And you know, as I always say, man, right before I leave, I'm out.